Okay, so earlier today, I checked out the preparations for Donald Trump's 250th birthday party for America, which is having some attendance issues.
Happy early birthday, America. We're celebrating already at the Great American State Fair. Man, we've got thousands of people celebrating this birthday with us.
Sometimes the pictures really don't tell the full story, because if you look behind us, you see, okay, there are a couple hundred people back there, but the truth is when you make your way over here and you're in a wash of people.
There are thousands of people here, and I'll tell you what, that's with rain, with everything else going on, the fact that it is heightened security just because of the world right now. It's really an awesome crowd.
That is so sad. This picture really captures the problem. One of the organizers posted this photo of a performance on the National Mall. If you zoom in, let's do it, on the guitarist's sunglasses, boy, you can see a crowd of less than a dozen people in the reflection. The organizers appear to have recently deleted that image from the social media feed, replacing it instead with this image of the performance, cropping out the guitarist and his really cool shades. Speaking of reflective surfaces, there's also the matter of the reflecting pool, which continues to dog this administration as the landmark Trump promised in April to fix and paint American flag blue. It now remains very, very, very algae green ahead of the country's 250th birthday. I couldn't get any closer than this sign. New reporting in the New York Times found that right after Donald Trump's renovation, machines called nano bubblers were added to the side of the pool to kill all that algae. You can see them there circled on the left-hand side of the screen. But they were later removed as the city prepared for Trump's big old UFC birthday bash. The algae then, of course, promptly returned, along with the nano bubblers. This is what I saw when I visited the pool earlier today.
There's definitely something in there. Yeah, it's pretty green.
It looks really green. Just in case I'm crazy or I'm not seeing this correctly, it's still very, very green, right?
Just like it's always been.
They got kind of back to bluish last week, I think.
Oh, that's what they say for a minute, but, that's not natural. Nature abhors interference.
David Farenthold is an investigative reporter with the New York Times and has been covering the reflecting pool debacle, and he joins me now. I hate to ask a Pulitzer Prize winner what nanobubblers are, but what are nanobubblers?
Basically, it's a water purification device. It kills algae by using ozone gas.
Okay, and so they were removed, and this is the main reason. I mean, you're not an environmental reporter, but I do feel like you have been there so closely and watching this so closely. That's why it turned back to green today?
No, that's why it turned back to green a couple of weeks ago. Now everything is in place. The nanobubblers are supposed to be working.
They ain't working, I can tell you, David.
But the striking thing about this is Trump has posted all these memes of Biden and Obama sitting in kind of a green, fetid-looking pool to contrast to how he made the pool. And the pool in his ugly pictures of Biden and Obama looks like the pool in your photos today.
Is the idea that these nanobubblers now have to be a permanent part of what's going on the National Mall?
Well, they always were. The plan for the reflecting pool was always to get this nanobubble filtration technology and put it in a sort of hidden filtration building that's sort of hidden from public view. But it is the water gets piped there, cleaned, and sent back. But what you're seeing today is a sign that, as people said, it may not be working that well.
You've been writing about the president's claims that that vandals with this knife and the 100-foot, 300-foot slit are to blame for the reflecting pool's issues. I talked to some people about that earlier today. I want to watch that. Have you seen any vandals?
No, zero. I mean, there's a fence up, so I guess there can't be. But yeah, no vandals.
What do you make of the signs that say danger explosives, authorized personnel only, coming to you on July 4th in this fence?
I think it's all show. They've made up a fiction about vandalism here, and they have to show people that they're doing something about it, even though there was never an issue.
I mean, it's just unbelievable to stand out there and to see nobody and nothing going on, and the thing looks so filthy dirty. What has your reporting turned up about the vandal conspiracy theory?
Well, you have to step back and remember that this pool was repaired using no-bid contracts. They gave a huge no-bid contract to a company that didn't do swimming pools and also had never done a federal contract before.
They didn't. In other words, my words, not yours. It seems like they didn't know what they were doing.
Well, what you can see by looking at internal government documents was that just a few days after they put this coating down on the pool, which Trump said would last for decades, hundreds of years, that the Park Service was already finding that it was coming up easily. It was peeling off, and just a little bit of effort would lift it off the bottom. So this idea that it had to be ripped with a knife and pulled up by vandals What the Park Service found was that it was just coming up on its own.
To be clear, these no-bid contracts are not the lowest cost contracts. Why is he using, or what are they saying about why he is using no-bid contracts?
What they've said is that there was no time. They decided so late in the game to fix the reflecting pool that they didn't have time to basically figure out who could do it the best or who could do it for the least amount of money. So both the nanobubblers and the people who painted the reflecting pool, both of those were no-bid contracts given out to people who had experience doing this sort of thing before.
Is there anything that can be done to stop, in cases like this or otherwise, these no-bid contracts from continuing?
Well, the one mechanism that usually happens is that people who didn't get the contract can protest and say, hey, you should have considered me and you didn't. But now doing that for one of Trump's signature projects means like taking him on directly. So if you ever want a federal contract again, you're putting that at risk by challenging this one.
And the idea that these no-bid contracts are something that the Trump administration relies on, what is your reporting showing you about the cost differential that it would have been had they gone with a lower cost bid?
It's hard to know because they didn't sort of do anything to determine what other people might have bid, but we know it's a lot more than Trump said. Trump said originally this was all going to cost $1.8 million. We're now up over $14.7 million and possibly going up. This
Great American State Fair, which is happening just down the mall, is being put on by an ostensibly nonpartisan group called, what is it called? Freedom 250.
Right.
But Trump has sort of taken the thing over. How did that happen?
So there was a congressional bipartisan committee set up to celebrate America's 250th called America 250, and that's been sort of shunted away and supplanted by Freedom 250.
Freedom, too. It's always freedom.
Right, which is a creation of Trump. He appoints the leaders. The White House leads it. It's funded by taxpayer money in a lot of cases, but it's directed by the White House. It's a Trump political operation.
I mean, and I was joking about you're a Pulitzer when I'm talking about nanobubblers, but your focus on nonprofits and how they were used is what won you that award in the first place. When you see this organization, what are you looking at?
Well, what it means, so the money this is taxpayer money that goes into a nonprofit, and that nonprofit, then its spending becomes opaque. We don't know if it's giving out no-bid contracts. We don't know who it's hired. We don't know who it's paid. It all just vanishes into this black box, at least until we get a report months from now or years from now. So we don't really know who they've paid or how much they've paid. And it's a way of taking that spending and kind of hiding it.
What did you see when you were you went down to the Great American State Fair today? What was the experience like for you?
To me, the biggest sin of it is not that it's political. There are certainly some political parts that appeal to the right wing. It's that it's boring. People hear State Fair and they think carnival rides, fried dough. You're going to see a roller coaster. It's more like a fair about states. So there's like a little kiosk about Kentucky, and then next to that is a little kiosk about Connecticut, and you can see like 3 exhibits about each state. It's really hot, and once you're down there for a while, are you going to see all 50 states if it means risking heat stroke?
Connect the dots to me with these other Trump pet projects. I mean, I went to the Kennedy Center today, and I watched as that tarp was still up there. The ellipse looks like a mess. The arch in Virginia is still in process. What is the nexus between all of these?
So we've reported on a lot of no-bid contracts to renovate Lafayette Park, to do the reflecting pool. The common denominator in a lot of cases is the things that Trump wants done the most are often, ironically, the jobs that are done the least well, because they're done by toadies and yes men, people who just want to get it done the way Trump said, and they go outside the government's process that's set up to find the best people to do the job for the least amount of money. So what you're seeing in the reflecting pool, the way that it sort of seems like it's fallen apart so quickly, is a sign of what happens when you take that kind of risk and just sort of throw money at the problem and don't ever say no to President Trump or don't even ask questions.
Are we talking about, I mean, corruption is a word that is thrown around a lot. Where does this rank for you in all of the corruption and all of the scandals that you've seen in the Trump administration?
It's not obviously the most expensive scandal or the biggest contract, but what's interesting to me is the way it sort of acts as a microcosm for the ways that Trump's administration has been willing to go around established procedures, hand out government money willy-nilly. One of these contracts went to somebody who was a neighbor at Mar-a-Lago. Somebody's known Trump forever. So it epitomizes the way they give money to people that they know and contracts to people that they know. So you can see that in Iran. You can see it in so many other places where this hubris and rush leads them to make mistakes. The reflecting pool is just the sort of smallest, easiest to understand microcosm of it. Everybody can tell a green pool is not right.
David Fahrenthold, the man went out in 90-degree heat to the Great American State Fair today to do it all for us. Thank you so much for being here. It was good to see you.
Thank you.